Hello everyone, this is Hakaym and welcome back to some more World of Warships and actually kind of a bonus video for you guys today. Now, I am once again in the Helena, and the reason why I'm doing another video in the Helena, besides it being a really good game, was the fact that I did get some comments saying that, well, pretty much the whole island camping can be easily outdone. There are tactics, obviously, to remove a USN ship from there, and well, I decided why not show a replay where I do the exact opposite. I play the normal moving USN cruiser, not the island camping that you did see in the last battle. Now, the island camping is a good tactic, and there are tactics to negate that, to counter it. And yes, I fully agree. There are really good tactics. I've done it against USN cruisers a lot because USN cruisers don't have torpedoes to protect themselves in case someone does rush their position. They only have to rely on their guns. So there are tactics that you can use. Now, on this team, as you can see, there are 2 carriers and a couple of Atlantas and a few destroyers. And we spawned on the very western side, and we're going to push A. So the whole point of this video is what to do on the opposite, being a more maneuvering, moving position rather than sitting in one location and just spamming HE. Still a good tactic, because USN cruisers are fragile. The Helena is no exception. I believe my very first attempt at driving the Helena, I believe it was on a live stream, I got pretty much wrecked. So yes, the Helena is very susceptible to this. Any battleships can easily focus down a Helena and do pretty good damage against it. So I am going to essentially show off a couple things. I'm going to show off the firepower, I'm going to show off the maneuverability, and kind of what you should be doing when you're playing the Helena. Now, this Atlanta makes a very interesting choice. Kind of rushes out there. The Fiji behind him did smoke up, and the Kamikaze also smoked up, but the Atlanta is not really able to take advantage of it because he decides to turn in, and you can kind of understand how potential these HE shells are against lightly armored ships such as the Atlanta. Really does eat a lot of damage just from the 15 shells inbound. And there we go, got first blood. That is kill number 1. And we know the Fiji is over there. We also know the Kamikaze. But I really also wanted to show off the AA because we really didn't actually take a look at that. And this is actually a really good example because there is a Hiryu and a Ranger in this battle. So a very good example to actually do it. And there is the Hiryu. Now keep in mind the Hiryu and the Atlanta, I believe, are actually divvied up. So you know, the very normal, let's bring a really good AA ship versus a Hiryu, or with a carrier, and just farm planes and whatnot. So kind of understand. Done it before myself, and I have to say I like that name, Zelnaga. Hopefully some people will actually recognize the reference. So as you can see, I am still using islands, but I'm actually continually moving, and there's a Kamikaze finally spotted. And against destroyers, the Helena can downright wreck a destroyer with the assistance of the Miyoko, and the Miyoko's done a really good job up to this point. He's been kind of the one taking most of the amount of damage, and that's another thing is the USN cruisers have to rely on support. They're not a ship that's really going to be pushing out, being very aggressive. That's just something USN cruisers kind of struggle with because they have that very weak side armor. Yes, they have nice bow. You can ricochet, but even Des Moines can't ricochet Montana shells all the time, so it can take penetration damage relatively easy. Now, unfortunately, we have just lost our Miyoko, which does mean the Kamikaze is still left alive. And I was expecting him to actually push that way, but we actually do manage to get a hit. Can we finish off this Kamikaze? The Hiryu is aware that we are inbound, obviously is vectoring in bombers and torpedo planes. So I'm actually gonna do different type of tactic. I'm actually going to pull away, so the torpedo planes will have to take longer in my AA bubble to actually get in a position to drop those torps. Do pop defensive AA. And the AA, like I said, it's really good on the Helena, and it's really good on the light cruisers in general, so you can definitely shoot down planes. Right now I think we're at 8 planes at the moment. Gonna have to slow up because the torpedo planes from Japanese bombers actually converge, so I actually want to slow up and let them pass me by. But this hero is pretty much SOL. There's not much you can do. Now, the Helena captain on that I currently have does not have IFHE, which would mean we would be doing a little bit more damage. I went for concealment first. That's just my personal choice. That's just my opinion, is a good option to go with. And now we can see the Ranger dive bombers are inbound. There's not much I can do. Just gonna have to rely on shooting them down without any additional assistance, but we should still do fine. We still have our damage control, so if he does land some shells on us, we'll be fine. And that should be kill number 3 right there. Very, very nice. And a good recommendation whenever dive bombers come in, try to basically form a T, because they have to rely on coming along the length of the ship to actually land the most amount of shells. So if you form a T to their vector, you should negate the amount of bombs actually incoming. But he does land some bombs on us and does get a couple fires, but we had damage control, so we're good there. Now we have a Julio Cesar that is starting to come our way. I'm actually going to go ahead and slow up because I'm going to try to drop off detect. And a moment there we are. Good, no longer detected. Now we're actually gonna kite. That's probably the best way to ensure that your survival and try to negate any potential damage is kiting. So that is what I'm going to do. We do have a friendly Indianapolis that is coming around the corner. Now he's actually gonna take most of the amount of damage. Once again, Helena is going to struggle against battleships firing at you. Your armor is just that weak. So you do have to be extremely careful. And also low tier cruisers also have to be very careful about taking damage because they have no way to rep or repair that damage. So you do have to be extremely careful. But you can kind of understand why some people don't like the US and light cruisers. One, they have a lot of shells, they fire a lot of, they sling a lot of HE, cause a lot of fires. Battleships is very aggravating to be lit, but he actually repped that first fire, which not the smartest idea. Now the Indianapolis is actually doing a really good idea, is using AP against this broadside Julio Cesar, and that's definitely what you want to be doing. You can watch how quickly the damage is done against this Julio Cesar with the AP that is being fired. Now we got 2 fires on this Julio Cesar and dealing a lot of damage. Now, granted, in this battle we are top tier. We're not facing Bismarcks, we're not facing Iowas, etc. So there is a major difference for being top tier and being bottom tier. Being bottom tier, you do have to play a little bit more passively, just taking the advantage of islands to essentially prevent from taking damage, because once again, if you take damage early on in a low tier cruiser, there's not much you can do to really assist. Julio Cesar is now dead. That's kill number 4, and now we have an Omaha that is starting to push in. I will admit, this Omaha, I'm not gonna be doing much to him. The Helena does really good against broadside targets, where her shell can she has very good horizontal dispersion, she has really good vertical dispersion, which means her shells tend to be very, very flat when coming in, and that works best whenever a target is broadside. As you will see, our shells, well, I do miss a couple times. I will have to admit that's still something I kind of struggle on, but the Indianapolis is just wrecking this guy, and unfortunately I do kind of nab the kill, which makes kill number 5, which makes Kraken. And yeah, I will admit I did kind of stake that kill. I didn't mean to, I was trying to help out, but just because the Helena has really good reload, that we were able to get everything away. So that's a quick look at it. Obviously, it was kind of light on the side. The majority of the enemy team did head towards C. So for the most part, we only faced off against cruisers, a destroyer, and a carrier with a low tier battleship. Once again, the Helena and any of the USN light cruisers, obviously if you are going up the line, are aware how quickly a battleship can just royally chew your ass when they really want you dead. And it can be aggravating. I definitely don't like dealing with USN cruisers when I'm in a battleship. I despise them when I'm in a destroyer. I think the fact that Wargaming has added so much radar is a good thing and a bad thing. Good thing because there was a lot of destroyer play, which, I mean, destroyers are, well, they're obviously weaker. They have a lot less amount of health, but they play a very important part in the game. Provide spotting, they provide torpedo hits, provide support, smoke, etc. So I kind of like the fact that destroyers have been negated somewhat, and I feel like it has swung back into the US or the cruiser line. I'm actually gonna go ahead and slow this up. Actually, this battle's about over with, to be honest. So I'm kind of grateful for the fact that, you know, destroyers have been nerfed, but I play destroyers too, and it's very aggravating with dealing with USN cruisers. But it just means that the destroyer captain has to be aware of the surrounding ships. And for instance, I had a Seattle battle where I pretty much wrecked destroyers because just popping radar as soon as you're detected and just completely ruined their day. So I kind of understand it, but honestly, this is just a quick little look at the USN light cruiser playing a different style, playing the more active role as was suggested I should do. And continuing on from what I was saying about the whole wargaming aspect, there are things in wargaming that I don't much care for. For example, I don't much care for the fact that Hindenburg has really good HE. They did nerf the reload, I think only by about a second, which was needed, but I did not agree with the whole HE penetration. Yes, it can be argued with the fact that their AP loses its potential whenever the angle is a little bit more angled. When the target's more angled, isn't able to pen as effectively as it obviously against any broadside targets. But I mean, that's just kind of my aspect. That's my look on the subject. But hopefully you guys have enjoyed this video. I did think it was kind of needed. I agree with people saying the last video was definitely a little bit more passive. This was probably a little bit more entertaining, and that's kind of what I always try to go for in my videos, is making sure they're entertaining. So hopefully this will kind of make it up for that last aspect. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you like what you saw, hit the like and subscribe button. You guys have a great and fantastic day. Zaijian.